Hey everybody, Derek here to bring another video for Z Nation Season 3. And what this video is going to be doing is reviewing the latest episode of Z Nation called Doc Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. If you are not caught up with Z Nation and you do not want to be spoiled in any way, then I suggest you exit the video now and come back later, because otherwise you will be spoiled. Okay. So obviously this episode, it gets its title and a little bit of the reference from the very great film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest starring Jack Nicholson. It was the picture that won, I believe it won Academy Award for Best Picture that year, as well as Jack Nicholson received the Academy Award for Best Actor. And it actually is one of 3 films that have won the Big 5 Academy Awards, which would be Picture, Director, Actor, Actress, and Best Screenplay. So it's a pretty good movie. If you haven't seen it, I would absolutely suggest it. This episode does not give it justice, so don't get a bad impression if you've never seen it. It would be a movie I would suggest to people. But overall, this episode, not the best. I kind of had negative thoughts about it, even when I saw the previews, based on some of the things we've seen Z Nation do in the past. And I didn't really feel like it lived up to its full potential. I think that the characters were not as exciting as I thought. The plot line really was not the best. The only really highlights of the episode, I think, were Russell Hodgkinson's performance. I think that he did a very wonderful job. I think that he is a very good comedian. I think he's somebody that, if he wasn't doing Z Nation, he would probably be doing something funny or sarcastic like this. I think he did wonderful. I think it showed his performance, and it brought 10K back into the fold with someone in the group, which was Doc. So that was also very nice, and we got to explore a little bit more of that story, but other than that, the episode really did not do much, and I really hope that the next few will finally get everybody back together in the group, and we finally get this group and Murphy back together. That's something I would like to see very soon. So in this episode, Doc actually gets separated from the rest of the group. We don't know how. We don't know if something happened, but basically Doc went to go to the bathroom. He comes back. He goes, "Hey, where'd everybody go?" And he starts mumbling to himself, referring to himself as his name, Doc. And of course, nearby, somebody overhears this, and all of a sudden, an Elvis impersonator pops out of nowhere and smacks Doc over the head with his guitar and knocks him out. So Doc is then brought back to, I believe it was called Sanity Falls Asylum or healthcare facility, however you would put it. And basically it is a institution that houses people with special needs, mental illnesses, and they've basically been in operation even after the apocalypse happened. So it held several different individuals. It held somebody who was like a conspiracy theorist. It was the Elvis impersonator. There was a kleptomaniac. There was somebody who I think repeated their behavior. And there was also Bob, who was a patient that had been lobotomized, if I'm not mistaken. So he just walked around. And there were a couple of others. But the person that basically held them all together was named, I guess, by Doc, Nurse Wretched, which is a parody of Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And she's basically trying to, keep the place going, keep everybody mediated, stay with the routine, care for them even after the apocalypse happened, but she's not always going about it in the best way. Well, Doc, of course, they think that Doc is a real doctor, so they ask him to basically help out, and he's able to prove that he is a doctor. He does have a background in clinical psychology. And Nurse Wretched takes Doc to the back and says, "We have one patient that we found who, he's so dangerous we have to keep him apart. He's been mumbling on and on about a mission, about etc., counting. His name is 10K. 10K. So Doc and 10K are reunited in this episode. And of course, 10K, as we saw in the last episode, he had passed out from exhaustion, taking another one of those vaccine shots, and somebody came upon him, and we don't know who. Well, apparently it was somebody from the institution who brought him back. So Doc, of course, is very happy to see 10K, but obviously sees that something is going on. Now, he doesn't let on to Nurse Wretched that he knows 10K. He kind of works his way around it. He kind of diagnoses 10K as a type of illness rather than 10K's name. And what ends up happening is 10K starts to go into seizures again, and whether that's because he hasn't taken the medicine or whether it's because he took another dose recently and he's still suffering the effects, it's hard to say. I hope in the next episode or two, maybe we might explore a little more that maybe 10K has become dependent on this, like a drug, and if he doesn't keep taking it, then obviously if he doesn't keep taking it, he's gonna become under Murphy's control again. But does he have to keep taking it? Does it only work for shorter amounts of time, etc.? Lots of questions there. So Doc, of course, wants to treat 10K, but Nurse Wretched wants to lobotomize him, which, of course, a lobotomy is a procedure that they basically take this, big spike and they nail it into your brain. And I guess it's supposed to I guess, stabilize you, I guess. I don't really know a lot about it, but I've heard about it. They do that to the character Randall McMurphy, in the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's something that you hear about a lot. They also talk about it in the movie Sucker Punch. But they want to lobotomize 10K because he's, a little too crazy for them, even by their standards. And basically, Nurse Wretched straps into a gurney and takes him away while Doc and the Elvis impersonator go and get medicine. And of course, they have to fight their way through this hall of different kinds of zombies, which that wasn't too bad. There was like a shocker zombie that had like the shock treatment headgear on. There was one that had a lot of needles in him. So definitely that was maybe a little more of a highlight too. But while that's going on, they go to try to lobotomize 10K. And of course, we're left to wonder, did they? Because Doc comes in the room and sees blood on the apron. But it turns out that they just practiced on Bob to remember how to do it. So Bob, in a sense, is maybe either re-lobotomized or they did another part of him. I thought he'd already been before the episode started, but basically they did it on Bob. And of course, they're about to do it to 10K, but Doc is able to talk them out of it. And he basically gives 10K, I guess, this combination of medicine, which stops him from being sick, but it kind of like gives him a high, if you will, or else it keeps him like very mellow pin. He's in like a state of euphoria because of the drugs. And he's basically rambling on and on to Doc about, I saw red, but she wasn't really there. He's seeing things maybe because of the vaccine. And basically he tells Doc, in more or less words, we need to get to Warren and Addie and them, and we need to stop Murphy because he's creating a new world order. So Doc realizes they need to get out of there. So while the group is doing a stretching routine, they try to sneak out, but they see that zombies are breaking in. So they decide they're going to go back and tell the others, hey, listen, you better get out of there because otherwise the zombies are going to kill you. But they, of course, get caught trying to escape. They're put back in straitjackets, and Nurse Wretched wants to lobotomize them. That's her solution to everything. Let's lobotomize people. That's what she wants. But of course, basically, Doc and 10K are able to turn people against her in a sense. They basically use the conspiracy theorist guy to like conspiracy theorize against other things. Like he basically believes anything that anybody tells him is a conspiracy theory. And eventually what ends up happening is Bob, the patient who was lobotomized earlier in the episode, he ends up putting a stop to everything by spiking Nurse Wretched and killing her. So he kills her, and basically Doc and 10K are able to get out of that situation. Now they want to save everybody from being eaten by the zombies, so they orchestrate an escape plan. They're going to get in this bus and drive away. So they work their way through the hallways, and they get out to the bus, and the patients get inside, but they end up leaving 10K and Doc behind. So the parties have split ways, and the bus just goes off. Well, I don't know if we'll ever see them again. The thing about Z Nation is they do a lot of these one-shot episodes, and I don't really know if we'll see any of those people again, but you never know. It would be very interesting to bring somebody back, I think, but we'll see. But for now, they're gone, and Doc and 10K are left. And of course, 10K is feeling very weak, and Doc tries to help him, and it's at this point that he finally sees for the first time that 10K has been bitten. He didn't know about that at the start. He thought that 10K was just maybe suffering from exhaustion. He had seen that there was a vaccine. He pulls it out because 10K was, of course, carrying those in his pouch, and Doc realizes, oh my gosh, 10K, you've been bitten. Oh man, and he gets really upset. Doc is very upset that Murphy would do this to him after seeing what happened with Cassandra. Doc basically swears to 10K. He goes, look, I don't care if I have to track Murphy down and make the vaccine myself. I'm going to help you, 10K, I promise you. And you see that relationship between Doc and 10K, just how strong it is. It's kind of like a father-son thing. I think they really do care about each other. 10K really looks up to Doc and really trusts him. Doc is really that kind of person that does have that trusting persona about him, that you would trust him with your life, something that if you told him that he would keep it a secret, in a sense, because he is a psychologist. At times there is a doctor-patient confidentiality there. And basically, when he finds out about this, he says, well, we're going to get this taken care of. We need to find Warren and Addie and Dr. Sun, and we're going to figure something out. And 10K asks at the end of the episode, he says, Doc, don't tell them I've been bitten. And he goes, well, why not? He's like, well, because, we dealt with Cassandra. The group did deal with that in the past. And I think that they realize that Murphy's bite can have effects on people. And we kind of saw just how bad Cassandra had been, what she had done to people, the fact that she was more zombie. But 10K is different, but that might not matter. The group might still feel a little endangered with him being around, and I could see that happening. I think that'll definitely be a key point in this next episode is, will the group find out? Will he tell them? Will Doc break down and tell them? What's going to happen? But he basically says, look, we dealt with Cassandra. I don't want them to know. I'm not like that, Doc. He's trying to convince them, I'm not like Cassandra, which he's not. He's different. But he's definitely feeling a lot of the effects of what's been happening to him, because over the last several episodes, we've seen that 10K has been struggling to, in a sense, stay in control of his body, because I guess you have Murphy's, blood versus the vaccine competing. It's been making him sick. It's been making him have seizures. And in this episode, he was really rambling on a lot about things. And I mean, the medicine that Doc gave him was really doing some of that, but I have to wonder how he'll be in the next episode. As we continue with our journey. But Doc does promise that he won't tell them that 10K has been bitten, but whether Doc will keep that promise, hard to say. I think it could go either way. But that was basically what happened in the episode. Again, the main point was that it did bring Doc and 10K together. I'm assuming they will find the group either in this next episode or maybe the one after. And from there, hopefully we get moving towards getting this group and Murphy together at odds, finding out a way to bring the man back, finding out a way to bring Zona back. It's been a little bit of a journey. I think that they've had their high points. I think it's been very good, but I'm really hoping that very soon, since we're nearing the midway point, we start to get more serious about these stories and we start to move towards all of that again, because I think that's when Z Nation is at its best, and I really hope they move in that direction very soon. So with that, I'm going to bring this video to a close. Let me know what you guys think. Did you like the episode? Do you think that there's something great about it that I didn't see? Don't be afraid to let me know. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming, and if you have any suggestions for future videos that you would like to see, don't be afraid to suggest them. Have a very wonderful evening, and thank you all very much for watching.